listening to Oh My Omaha, the podcast, where we uncover inspiring things about our community through the stories of inspiring people who call it home. I am Dee Harrell, and this is the creator of Oh My Omaha, the blog, and the blogosphere's friendliest face herself, Kim Reiner.
Hi there.
Okay, so that's enough about you and I. Let's meet our amazing guest today, Annie Butler.
Yeah, so Annie is the director of Benson Creative District. She has strong ties to the Benson community, including serving on the board of BFF Omaha since its inception in 2012, back when it was called Benson First Friday. With a background in sociology, she brings a unique perspective and human approach to place-based economic development. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me as your first guest. I'm so honored.
Awesome. Yeah. It was so good that we were able to kind of get this going. I've known Annie. A little background. I've known Annie for over 15 years.
I think so.
Yeah. And we both started off at a salon and just stayed really close ever since. Bonded through some traumatic experiences.
Yeah. Everyone has those, right?
Yeah. You know, it's all good. But she's Aunt Annie to Parker now because of that traumatic thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, that was traumatic.
It was.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll talk about it some other time.
Right. It sounds from Dee like that you've been kind of a part of the artsy community for ages. And she was talking about how even in your 20s you were creating art shows pretty much, right?
Yeah.
In your home?
At your house.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because we weren't 21, so we couldn't go. Not that like art galleries have an age limit on them, but I don't know, these like public spaces for like a younger generation didn't exist at the time, or we didn't know where to find them or to find exactly what we wanted. So, yeah, when I was 20, I think we had an art show in our house that I lived with like 5 other people. And we're just like, let's just have, we had a bunch of friends who were artists. And so we were just threw an art show, had like a bartender and snacks and appetizers and stuff. It was great. You were there, right?
I was there. I bought 2 pieces.
Did you?
Yeah, I bought a graffiti piece from Ryan
Bruner.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
right.
And then I bought a little sculpture piece. I can't remember the name of the artist though. It was a small one, but yeah, I was there.
So it was very fun. So yeah, I've always just been surrounded by artists, and so I kind of like the curating part of it, the organizing side. I am a creative, I guess, but not necessarily. Don't consider myself an artist, I suppose.
I think you sell yourself short on
well,
that
thank
one.
you.
So creative districts are kind of a fairly new concept to Nebraska. And so in case listeners aren't familiar with it, can you kind of explain what a creative district is and what Benson Creative District is?
Yeah. So in 2022, I think is when it got passed. Legislation got passed to allocate money from the state to Nebraska Arts Council, where Nebraska Arts Council would then distribute it to creative districts. And then the goal in creating a creative district is to boost the economic vitality of the neighborhood utilizing the arts. Well, Benson kind of already existed as a creative district without this title or designation. So we obviously applied for it, and then we're certified a creative district in July of 2022. And then I was hired on September of last year.
Were you one of the first districts? I feel like
first in Omaha.
Okay, first in Omaha. Okay.
But they exist all over the state. I think there's 28 right now.
Yeah. It's such a cool idea. I loved it. We wanted to talk about some of the elements of a creative district pertaining to Benson, and get your insight on some of your favorite places to visit in there, and some of ours too. Like yes. Dee says, she's always in Benson. We used to live near Benson, and so actually we moved shortly after it started getting to be such a cool place.
Yeah.
We're like, of course, we got kids, and then all of a sudden it was just
right.
It became very lively, but we still come from some time to time. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So with creative districts, there's elements of like galleries and theaters and music venues. So we were going to dive in with first music venues because we both we enjoy concerts, live shows. And so what are the, talk us through some of the music venues there and which ones, you frequent. If you like.
So Benson has a huge music scene and always has, really. Right. I managed a salon in Benson from 2012 until 2022. And so when we moved into the neighborhood, it was really like Jake's and the waiting room were like the big spots that everyone went to. I mean, if you didn't know anything about Benson, you still would go there for the waiting room to go to shows there. So waiting room is still there and amazing. They opened up a new spot, Reverb. I guess it's not new anymore. And then the Sydney has shows, Shakedown Street Tavern, which used to be Barley Street. I mean, all over the place. I mean, when I was down there too, back in 2012, I think the Foundry was still there, which is now 402 Arts and Hearty Coffee. And so they still have shows there. Where else? I mean,
so there's that new, and also like live music in general. They've got like the DJ scene is even big. Right. It's getting bigger. Which,
there's 10 Forward now. Floors on 70th and Maple.
Some of these.
yeah. I mean, you can turn anything into a music venue, honestly.
Yeah. So do you have any memorable shows? Like what's kind of like your favorite?
Oh my gosh. So many. I also, with BFF, I've helped out with Pet Fest over the past, I think we're on our 7th year now. So we do it's our BFF's biggest fundraiser. And so it's 20 mostly local musicians, that they perform in the back of Pet Shop on our like gravel lot. So have had some very memorable moments there. But I would say as far as like bigger shows, seeing Reptar was a band from Athens, Georgia. And they opened for Fantagram, I think, Fantagram. 1 year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was it? I think it was. They won something, and maybe. This was in 2012. Was one of the times that. Oh wait, I'm getting them confused. They've played a couple times, but they played. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to remember the name of the band. Yeah, there's been so many. Music has been. That's like my deal. Is definitely the music scene. So I can't even list the amount of bands that I've seen. In Benson specifically, yeah.
Same.
Do you have a favorite, or do you...
I've been going there for so long that my favorite, I mean, I guess I could talk recently, since if we're talking about like, what to do and in the community as of right now. I went to my first Frostival. I'm going to get that wrong, in December. So it's a little like mini, festival 2-nighter thing at Waiting Room and Reverb, and you go interchangeably between it. It's mostly local bands, and you just dance and listen to music. There's vendors inside with jewelry, so it's like a mini festival during, like right before Christmas or during the holidays, and so it's 2 days. It was awesome. It goes from like late morning to close, and it was really fun to have an indoor festival like that. I've gone to a lot of music festivals, but have one little one like that, just so
more intimate. And
it was intimate, and it was really well organized. It was, Waiting Room does a really great job in allowing the flow of it. They set it up really nice. I mean, I like where the bar. The setup is really great for live music. But I would say that was great. I went to a show. The most recent one I went to was Petey.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't make it to that one, but I heard it was great. It felt a little old,
but it was great. Yeah, it was really great.
You really get your age shows now. I went to a show recently. It was like a 20-year reunion show, and I was like, it was the best thing ever because the mosh pit was filled with, like, there wasn't a single person under the age of 30 there. And everyone was, like, so nice. And we were just, like, being gentle with each other because, like, we can't handle that anymore. And I was like, oh, my God, this is the best experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you get aged pretty quickly.
The gentle mosh pit. It's always a good sign.
So I think some of mine I have such an eclectic taste. So I remember going to, I don't know if it was Sydney at the time, but so I used to work at a music department. And so I was really into geeky, like classical guitar music, and there was a musician there that was like a phenomenal guitarist that came in town, and we went there and we saw him there, which was a very kind of indie folksy kind of group. And then like most recently, and I had to say it's favorite just because I'm biased, but I saw for the first time Omaha Girls Rock.
Yeah.
And it was the first year my daughter was involved in it. And so to be there and to see all these amazing young ladies on stage that just learned an instrument like a week ago, and they wrote that song.
And they're so brave. Yes. I'm like, oh my God, I would never, ever get up there.
I know. I'm just like, whose kid are you?
Yes. It makes me cry.
Yeah.
I can't watch it.
It was inspiring. I was excited to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing awesome things in the neighborhood.
So yeah. It's an awesome show.
Well, that speaks to kind of what's going on in the community, is how they're starting different creative, experiences younger and younger, which is so awesome.
And welcoming them into the community.
100%. Right. 100%.
And that's kind of I think people have a misconception about this like creative district designation, thinking it's like this brand new entity. Right. We are just the space that other creative organizations and people get to do their thing that they're already doing. Like all this amazing work is already happening. We didn't need this creative district designation to come in and have like new programming, new events. We're just uplifting the voices of the already creative things that are happening, so we're not competition to ourselves. It's just we're existing under this umbrella of the creative district. Benson is still Benson. We're just called a creative district now. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally. And then art galleries. So you've mentioned some that I didn't even know existed, and I've come across them through BFF. Mm-hmm. But do they all have different, I guess, feels to them? Like tell us about some of them, if they have any specialties, I guess.
BFF has a couple galleries. So they've got Pet Shop, obviously, and then the BFF gallery on 59th and Maple. Trudy's gallery is it's like a shared studio space, and it's kind of the youth engagement space. They like have the teen line. It's kind of like downstairs in like a basement. Yeah. But really cool studios, really cool space to kind of just come create whatever you want. And then the Mamo Gallery, which is our mobile gallery, which is a semi-trailer turned into a gallery. I think that's it on BFF, but I feel like I always miss one. So I'm sorry, Alex, if I did. And then Maple Street Construct. Yeah. You've got Radial Arts Center. I'm certain. Ming Toy Gallery. Yeah. Teresa's incredible. I'm sure I'm missing more. But the other thing with like Benson is it kind of started out with very few galleries and things turned into galleries, and then there's like the non-conventional galleries. Like Jake's has an area where they host First Friday artists, Star Deli. So it's kind of, that's the deal with First Fridays, like turning these unconventional spaces into galleries. So,
yeah.
Awesome. So I was going to say, with Benson First Fridays, I've only known them as a parent and going with kids, so I have a different experience with it. But let's see. So like you mentioned the semi truck, and that was, we went one time, and it was an immersive space.
Yeah.
That was amazing. My kids just loved it because there was like a spot to just, it felt like a cloud area almost, and you could just lay down. It was like hard to get particularly my daughter to get out of there. But
was that the fort one?
I think so.
Like a bunch of blankets up everywhere.
Yes.
I think that was Daniel Knapp and Laura Simpson.
That's right.
They did like it was like a pillow fort, like a fort.
Like a sensory.
Yeah. It was really cool.
I was just like, okay, I love that this is here.
Right.
So, should we just jump right into like having?
Absolutely.
So, for me, a lot of like My Omaha has always been about bringing my kids to places that you might not have thought of being welcoming to families or for kids, and most places are. So I wanted to know about you and how what places in Benson are just start there with your kids. Recommendations.
That's interesting that you say that. So I have a 7-year-old, so this is kind of, and so when I started out with First Fridays, 2012, I was 22. And so it was just like kind of party, like do whatever you want. It was an adult scene. It was like, us, the artists, we were just, we did like mud wrestling in the back of Pet Shop.
I remember that.
So it wasn't focused on children. We'll just be completely honest. I think me and a lot of people in the neighborhood, people tend to stay in the neighborhood. So there's a lot of longtime Bensonites, and they have grown up as well and have children as well. So I feel like it has kind of started turning into like, okay, how do we accommodate families now? And that's a big focus of ours and a big focus of mine, maybe because I'm biased and I want to take my 7-year-old to all of these things. So, there's very few things that he can't come to with me, especially during First Fridays. But there is, with Trudy's, lots of like youth arts engagement, but we're trying to do a lot more too. I've talked to Maddie at the Benson Theater, and she has some big plans for getting some more youth programming going there. Just trying to focus even on like the infrastructure parts of it too. I've submitted a grant to hopefully get some money to maybe start doing some improvements to, whether it's like a bus stop, or I'm applying for an urban thinkscape is what it's called. So basically turning existing infrastructure, when you walk around with your kid, it's very much like, don't touch that, don't climb on that. You're not allowed to interact with these pieces. And so that's one of our big goals is like, no, these should be accessible to everybody, and you should be able to touch it and climb on it and do whatever you want and have an educational element to it.
So I think I've read articles about stuff like that where while you're waiting at the bus stop, there's games.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
It's kind of what they did at Jean Leahy with the revamp. Those
Right.
sculptures are meant to be touched and climbed on.
Yeah, we should just be thinking about things from different perspectives.
Right.
And it's fun for adults too.
Absolutely.
I don't want to sit at a bus stop like without a game.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, like at the dentist office, when you look up at the ceiling, there should be like games and stuff at the bus stop or whatnot to just occupy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So did you just submit that grant?
No, this was a while. We should find out in April. And I mean, even if we don't get it, I think this is still like plans for the future, something to work towards.
Right.
Also, the Bay, Lincoln, they're going to be starting programming in Omaha, out of the Benson Community Center. So, if your kids are into skateboarding or music, Andy Norman is incredible. So we're trying, that's kind of one of our focuses with the Creative District, is trying to figure out, can there be one place to go to find out all of these things that are going on? Because right now it's a bit of like working in silos where all of these things are going on, but where do you find all of the information? And especially for a parent, I know for me, I'm like, what's going on this weekend? Which I'm sure that's the point of Oh My Omaha, is like, what is happening? I need to see it all in one place. And we'd like to have something similar just for Benson. Yes, the goal is to boost the economic development of the neighborhood and be great for businesses, but we also want to be great for our residents and the people that live here. So that's our goal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We haven't touched upon some of the businesses in Benson. So tell us about, so you have some great restaurants, a lot of locally owned restaurants. What are some of your favorites? And what do you usually order there? Or recommend people ordering?
Oh my gosh.
Put you on the spot.
Okay. Well, au courant, obviously. But you got to get the tasting menu.
I've done that once. I've done that once with like foodies, and then one couple that are not. So it was just fun to introduce them. They're just kind of like, yes, so we just have like just a taste. You just
yes, it is small, but like,
like, it's coming. Just be patient.
It's not going to be like a big plate of spaghetti, but it's amazing. And then Yoshitomo, obviously, David Utterback is amazing. Virtuoso, if you haven't had their pizza, it's like the slices are like the size of your head.
We always go there with the kids. That's like our
and David and Brenda are incredible. Like Percy, I remember. This was probably before COVID. Percy was probably 4 or something, or maybe 3 even. And we went in there to get pizza, and David was like, oh, come on back, and like showed Percy how to like make a pizza. And Percy's back there. Like, so he's just like, is that pizza guy there? They're so sweet. Yeah. So Virtuoso, Veg Edible just opened up.
Yeah, I'm there all the time.
All right. Oh yeah, of course you are.
That's when I saw you last.
Yeah, that's
driving
right.
up to Veg Edible all the time. Yeah.
But then, even on the west side too, you've got like Mantra, Heartland Barbecue on the east side. Ruby's Place is another. It's all takeout, but Southern style, and they have cake by the pound, or by the slice too. But I prefer by the pound.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's my favorite thing to order? Oh my gosh. My favorite is actually Mas Chingon.
Oh,
Their tacos. It's Jose who owns Ika and JoJo's Diner, and one more. I can't remember. But anyways, their tacos are incredible.
Awesome. Yeah, nice. That's a good one.
How about you?
Vegetable. I get the Matty Melt more often than I get anything else. And the jackfruit barbecue fries are excellent. So like anybody with any kind of an allergy or aversion, it's wonderful. I have supported them since before they had the brick and mortar. They used to be out at, they'd use the kitchen at the Potawatomi Arts Culture Entertainment Center. Yeah. But they sell in different areas down in the old market. So I would just go on the days that they would drop off their new stuff and just grab a whole bunch of things. But now I'm so glad that they have a brick and mortar. Awesome.
Yeah, we're happy to have them.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was very recent too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like late summer. Is that right? I think it was like late summer.
I don't know what time it is anymore. So.
True.
No clue.
Time is
it's irrelevant. It's made up anyways.
Yeah. I would have to say vegetable for sure. How about you?
So I have a sweet tooth, so I'm always like Ted and Wally's.
Oh yeah, well obviously.
And I try different flavors, but I am just their Dutch chocolate is possibly the best in the world, and so that's just I can't venture from it. I might get a second flavor, but Dutch chocolate's amazing there. And then with kids, Virtuoso is usually our dining spot if we're gonna have dinner or a meal. And then we do go to the Edge of the Universe. My kids love their hot cocoa there, and it's pretty good.
There's a lot of things to happen
and
at
there's
the Edge of the Universe
fun drinks
too.
there. So
yeah,
I can have a fun drink. They get their hot cocoa, and
awesome. Yeah.
What else? Shopping? Do you do a lot of shopping in Benson? Have any?
Yeah, Tip Top Thrift Shop is my go-to. But also like 5.9 too.
Yes.
I'm just like a sucker for stationery
Yeah,
or
me
like
too.
pens. I'm like, oh my God, I need all of these
all
pens
lined up
today.
on the window too.
Yes.
Like they're late night. You're like, oh,
If she
Meg,
could just
there's
like make it look like not as enticing.
right. Yeah, because I need all those
every
barrettes
time.
and the pens and the pads of paper.
Yes.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
A new notebook.
A 100.
I don't have any. I'm all out of notebooks.
Yeah,
turns out.
Same. I have bookshelves of all plain, but I like the way they look. They're just aesthetically pleasing now.
Yeah.
not for use.
Right. Right. She knows what she's doing for sure.
Does. That storefront's excellent.
And for me, I like. Oh gosh, is it the Book Nook? Is it the bookstore there that?
So that just closed.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. And then Found. I always go into Found.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could take it all, have it all in my house.
Yeah.
Great.
I get the best
Decor.
things. The best tailor is at the end.
Oh
on
yeah.
the East End.
Fast alterations.
Fast alterations on that
I
little
know.
nook. I have been going there for a really long time, and I push so many. It hasn't changed. She sells like the carbon copy, kind of like handwritten situation with the window, and you have no idea what's going on behind. But quick, amazing, really reasonably priced, best.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, it's not on our list, but I wanted to ask. So, like, what other events happen in Benson that are annual favorites of either yours or ones that you think people should know about?
Yeah. As far as, obviously First Fridays happens the first month, or the first Friday of every month. Some notable First Fridays that are coming up. Obviously First Friday in April will be great. But May First Friday will be a really big one. There's like a ton of stuff going on. SoundSpark, which has like, I'm not even going to be able to describe it well. We have different musical or sound components kind of interacting with sound in various places. And so that's going on in May. Also, the Creative District has been working with Benson High School with their students, they are designing a like Visit Benson publication that will also double as their lit mag. So it has their art and poetry and things like that. And so the design students are actually like creating that right now with the help of JP, BFF's communications director. And then we just had an artist, Aurea Simonini, just put in a mural in the freshman wing at Benson High School. And we surveyed the freshmen and asked, you know, kind of like, what color palette do you like? What elements would you like to see? And so she created this like beautiful design and just put up that mural. So the unveiling of that will be on May 3rd. Awesome. So that starts, I think, at 4:00, and that is at the high school. And so that's their senior night where they kind of present everything that they've been working on. And it just happens to also be First Friday. So we're hoping to get, you know, as much of the community to see the seniors' work, you know, from I think 4 to 6 or so, and then head on up to First Friday because there's a lot of cool things going on in May. That's the first month that we block off the street too. So that's kind of like the beginning of our summer months.
You guys do like outdoor vendor market kind of things.
Yep.
Once that starts.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's we have Military blocked off and then 62nd Street blocked off. So North and South markets, and there's just always a bunch of stuff going on there. First Friday, June is Pride. First Friday in August is New American Arts Festival. So those are our big ones for BFF. We obviously have the Benson Neighborhood Association puts on Benson Days. That's July 27th and 28th, I believe. And then I think Benson Beer Fest it's in June sometime. I want to say like the 2nd or the 11th. I don't think they announced it yet, but John told me it was one of those dates. So keep an eye out for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Summer's a good time to go.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Great. There's great patios at all different places in Benson. And the weather's really nice.
Which patios? You got to name some. I like Barchin just because it feels kind of like it is a beer garden.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I like Krug sometimes because it's like really intimate. It's kind of just, you don't even know it's there, and you're just back there. It's awesome.
St. Andrews is my go-to patio, but have you ever been on Hardy's patio?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's a secret garden. They have, this like little back door, and it's like gated in, and it is beautiful back there. In the summer, I'll go like work there in the mornings.
Yeah, not
amazing.
A lot of people know
you don't feel like you're in Omaha.
They're gonna know now.
Well, cut that out.
Yeah,
never mind.
Awesome.
It's not there.
We know. We're just joking.
Told you.
Yeah.
What would you say? So speaking of like hidden gems, are there any hidden gems or places that deserve being brought to be featured? Like things that you don't think people know about yet that are doing awesome things?
There's a new place out, it's like 70th and Maple, called Time on My Hands.
Oh,
and it's like crafts and services, I think is what they call it.
But they're doing all these fun little family events.
Yeah. And like a creator's space. So I'm very excited to be able to maybe like, you know, once my schedule clears up a little bit, maybe like go to one and like make something would be nice. But, I feel like people should know about that. There's so many hidden gems in Benson. It depends on like what you need or what you want to do. And, that's, like I said, the hard part is how can the creative district help to leverage these events and these things going on? Because we want to be good for the neighborhood and be good for the businesses, but like with this development at the same time too, if Benson starts doing great, we don't want to push out the small guys, right? Like we are the small guys, so we want to be able to help them and their businesses and make sure that, Fast Alterations stays there forever. Right. That she's always there.
Correct.
Yes.
100%.
So it's a balancing game for sure.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk about, Oh My Omaha, like I mentioned, is about doing things with your kids as well as doing things without the kids. But since you have a son, what would you recommend for new parents who want to raise creative kids? Where do you send them? Not necessarily in Benson alone, but where in Omaha do you say, go to these places, it'll spark creativity in yourself and your kids?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think there needs to be, and this depends on your parenting. You know, I'm not going to tell anyone how to parent, but maybe we need to start thinking about these spaces as not one or the other. You know, it's not like, is this for children or for adults? Just introducing them to all sorts of things. Percy obviously comes with me to First Fridays, but we've been down to Second Fridays on Vinton Street. So the generator space over there, you know, I just want him to, we went to the last Omaha Girls Rock, open mic night at Hardy. I take him to concerts. It's his favorite thing in the world. And he doesn't understand that he can't go to late night concerts, even if they're not 21 plus, I'm no, it's 9 o'clock. We can't, and the bands don't go on till 11. We're not doing that, you know? So we hit up some festivals over the summer, and you know, maybe some people wouldn't take their kids to that, but I want to introduce him to those things. Yeah. So really, you know, is it something that you want to go to? Then take your kids with you. Yeah.
That's a great answer. Yeah. I mean, my kids are grown. So the perspective, Kim and I were talking about that in the sense of what the community looks like now, and what it offers, or what it available, integration of space for adults and kids, how far it's come. I mean, I'm not that far removed, but you know, they're both early 20s. And so it's amazing how, back 15 years ago, I had to work really hard in being able to find those spaces for my kids. Whereas now, there are so many different offerings, and it seems to be keeping better, right. Particularly with the designation of the Creative District or the revamping of the Old Market. There's just a whole new draw to have families be part of the cultural fabric, and not just the adults in one instance and the children over here. And
right.
I think that's such a huge move, influence, or impact on the community, and how we are viewing creativity in general, right? Kind of like the architecture space. We were talking about some of the camps, and how at Coneco particularly, because I used to work there, but the summer camps would include HDRs, and they ran huge units of the time for the kids, because they wanted to make sure that they understood different of creative careers.
Yeah.
Introducing them to creative careers instead of just what we think art is, or what we think creativity is. It's a matter of, you know, how you say, integrating it all into one space. It just becomes more natural.
Right.
Introduce them that way.
And we were talking about that because for the longest time I was working a full-time job and doing this blog thing. And so it was just in the summers, my kids had to go to camps pretty much. And so it started out with one of the camps that my son loved. Always loved building with Legos, and so it made sense to take him to a Lego camp at UNO, and he was learning some fun creative architecture thing. And then when he got old enough to go to Coneco, there was this amazing architecture camp where he got to envision, he had a space to work with, and he had to come up with a design for the use of that space. And it was just a smart transition that kept the creative flowing, and it was a fun summer camp, and it was working with HDR, and I'm like, how cool is this that we have this now? And I love that we have professionals that maybe would never think that they would be part of a summer camp, and they're just introducing their professions to these teens or tweens, and kind of inspire the next generation. I love it. Does Percy go to summer camps or any of those?
Yeah, this year he's just doing the ones through the city, but he has done, he did a play in a day at the Omaha Community Playhouse, and he loved it. He's going to be a performer for sure. So yeah, and I asked him if he wanted to do it again over the summer, and I think he thinks that if he's not going to camp or something, then he can just stay home and watch TV or something. But I'm no, that's that's not how it works. But so I'm interested to see, that's why I want to talk to Maddie and kind of see, it'd be nice to have it at the theater, have something offered like that. So we're kind of working out something like that. And then He did skate school last year with Rabble Mill in the Bay. They did it down at the mill. Wait, the mill? No, is that what it's called?
Millworks.
Millworks. Yeah. So, but I think they'll be doing it out of Benson Community Center. So after he finishes baseball, he'll do that.
Awesome.
But another thing I was going to bring up too is that like we can't afford babysitters.
Right.
You have to bring, like, if you want me to be at your event, make sure my kid can be there too, because that's what it is. Like, I have to.
Right.
It's crazy. It's true.
So, well, I guess we already touched upon creative activities that you do with your son.
Yeah. So we were kind of talking about, like, if there's anything that you, and you did bring this up with Maddie and bringing it kind of the theatrical piece or, you know, to Benson, but is there anything that the community at large does not offer currently that you wish that they did? Omaha and surrounding areas, so not just to Benson, but just, you know, the community as a whole.
We need more third spaces. Just like in general, just free public spaces, ideally green spaces. That's kind of an issue in Benson, not having much green space. I think there are some options. That's definitely like some goals of mine. I know maybe there could be like alleyway activation, things like that. I guess my biggest issue maybe is like just like the car centric nature of Benson. I feel like we, I don't know. I think it could be a lot more if we were more focused on like walking and biking and like taking the bus and whatever, instead of being worried about like, well, where do I park? And just like safer for people. Like, think if Benson, if anywhere, you know, it just having like a vacated street turned into a park or whatever. Those are my big goals.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think missing pieces too. But yeah, just trying to get the community a little bit more engaged. I know like after COVID, we forgot how to be social. But also then it seems like all of a sudden there's all of these things going on and everyone needs to be at every single meeting and make sure, you know, it's like everyone's trying to coordinate all of these things separately. And so just trying to be like, can we consolidate this into like one meeting? Everyone knows what's going on. Everyone has a voice in it. So it's slow work though, right? You have to build the trust of a community and of a neighborhood and making sure that, you know, who's missing from this conversation.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
I like the idea of building in the sense of taking things away to build.
Right.
Right. Like
right.
instead of building actual structures, it's actually removing them.
Right.
To then build
right.
the actual community that you ultimately see.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, our final question.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We want to ask everybody kind of this question when we have them on, but where do you find inspiration in the community? Or what inspires you in the community?
There's a lot. I am often inspired by like very mundane things. I like very ordinary things make me happy. And so I try and notice those. But I will say, okay, so recently we, the Creative District funded or sponsored a couple billboard projects for Youth Art Month for Benson High School students. And so the design instructor the other day gave me 4 thank you notes from the students. And oh my God, like they were like, I never thought that like I could do art as a career. I never thought I would be on a billboard. Like, thank you so much. This means so much to me. And, you know, to us, it's like, all right, like, you know, all the schools have this youth art month and blah, blah, blah. Maybe the kids don't really care that much. And like they do, like this means so much to them. And it was, you know, like nothing for us to just sponsor a couple billboards. You know, we just wanted to support our, you know, the high school that is in our district. But it meant so much to them. They were so sweet.
That's so cool.
But I also like, I'm emotional. Like I cry at everything. So
you just was like, don't cry. Don't cry. Right now she's talking about this.
Yeah, I think I have them. You can read them. You'll lose it.
Next time. Awesome. Yeah, I probably will cry on one of these episodes for sure. Hands down.
Okay.
Would probably
just get ready for it.
Yeah. Be a goal.
No, I'm trying to reel it back. Don't be emotional. Don't be emotional.
No, you're allowed to.
It's true.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. You want to be represented from neurodiversity and emotional?
Yeah.
100% right here. I'll react that way every single time. Good. But yeah, I like the idea of being inspired by the small things.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Awesome. All right. So is there anything else you wanted to add? Is there anything... This is your chance to
don't do that to me. I probably missed something. My gosh. No, I don't know. Okay. Yes, I'm sure a lot. Maybe you can put them in the notes of the podcast after I get home and I'm like, I didn't talk about that. Oh, no.
You did great. Also, And remember, there is no patio at Hurrdat.
Yeah, there's no very nice patio at Hurrdat Coffee in Benson.
Not at all.
Don't go there.
Is there anything else that you want to add, Kim?
No, I don't think so. We want to this is exciting. Thank you so much for being our first guest.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Giving us this test run. And
you guys are the best.
It was so fun.
Great things.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Of course.
Trying.
Well, you are amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, we do. You do. Thanks for listening to Oh My Omaha, the podcast. We want to thank our guest, Hurrdat Media, all of you for your support, and the Omaha community at large.
So from D&I, keep on exploring.